Baby, I've been out for so long, longer now than I was in. I ain't saying I'm some cowboy. Right now I'd go back again. But I'm so thankful for my family, my wife and our 2 kids. Oh, most nights I thank God they don't know where I've been. We be painted on our faces, we be learn to walk the wire, where they fed us just like lions, and they watched us jump through fire. The way we walked around in circles, the way we worked into the ground. Well, I may not miss the circus, but I damn sure miss the clown. Oh, damn, I miss those clowns. That's why you find me out here in a place you never feel. And I know that you don't understand, and I pray you never will. We be painted on our faces, we be learn to walk the wire, where they fed us just like lions, and they watched us jump through fire. We be walked around in circles, the way we worked into the ground. Well, I may not miss the circus, the way they fed us just like lions, the way they watched us jump through fire. When they taught us we would fear this man, well, they turned us into liars. We be walked around in circles, the way they trained us just like hounds. Well, I may not miss the circus, but I damn sure miss the clown. Oh, I may not miss the circus, I will always be a clown.
And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a live broadcast of the True Patriot Outfitters. Happy Monday, July the 10th to you. Hope you enjoyed the little video there. Tyler J. We just got kind of a second-hand update. Tyler J. still on the mend. As you know, this was part of our benefit piece. Tyler had a battle with cancer there, and I've been told that is slowly getting behind the microphone again there. We're, of course, all praying for him and sending nothing but positive vibes and wishes. Looking forward to when we can get him on the podcast here. That should be an awesome deal. Hey, man, So tonight's broadcast is flat out brought to you by the True Patriot Outfitters, man. This one is brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation and the True Patriot Outfitters. We've been busy at work. Romans Warrior Foundation has been wicked busy, traveling all over the country, taking the wall, taking the Stop 22 tour to communities all over the Midwest. And it's been amazing. We've had opportunities, man, to make some amazing connections here. Tonight, we're also going to talk with the man himself. He's busy for wrapping up work right now, and so we'll get him on the podcast here in a little bit. Our very own from the All-American Kayak Series, our very own Tyler Cole went along with a lot of the All-American Kayak Series anglers. Also, the man in charge himself, Mr. Booth. They all went up there to LaCrosse and battled it out on the Bassmaster Series there, and Tyler put a beat down on him, man, and came home with the win. So super cool. We're going to have him on fresh off his win, talk with him in an exclusive here, and we'll cover some of that. Of course, we'll go through fishing. We wanted to do a July update too, man, to get everybody up to speed with a lot of the events, things that were going on. Our tournament season slows down, as we get into the summer months here. It kind of slows down a little bit for us, and we start picking up more with a lot of the nonprofit events and so forth. The whole reason why we do the podcast, the whole reason why we do everything out there on the road, is bringing awareness to the healing benefits that the outdoors can bring to that sector of our community, which absolutely more than deserves it, and that's the veteran, active military, first responders, and their families. I don't know if you guys hear me say that too many times. People just kind of hear it and it kind of goes right with it, and a lot of people don't realize the significance and the importance of what the families, that support that we offer with our services. Not a lot of nonprofits offer the same, like say hunting trips or different experiences. They don't offer them to families, and the primary reason for that is not that they don't care. Of course they care. The primary reason is grant monies. When nonprofits take grant monies, a lot of times this grant money comes with particular rules and regulations that go with it. And some of them, the grant monies absolutely say that this can only go to veteran or active military. Not associated, not spouses or children or things of that nature. I don't know why that grant money would be written that way, but that is the main 99% of the reason why some of these, the other awesome organizations out there are unable to offer that. I can tell you here at Romans Warrior Foundation and the True Patriot Outfitters, when it comes to our field ops division, any division, we've not taken in grants that require that, and it is vitally important. I can tell you from the True Patriot Outfitter side, we won't take grant money that would somehow prohibit the inclusion of the family. The whole family serves. We believe that wholeheartedly. That's right at our core, and so the family will absolutely 100% gold star, blue star, no star, whatever. If you are a family member of any of those that have dedicated their lives to service, then you absolutely have our gratitude and our services available. So that's a lot of times that's brought up there. Hey, man, one thing I want to let you guys know, if you're in the Colorado area or if you're close by and you're looking for some cool events, there's a couple main events coming up here by some very close organizations that we've worked with in the past, and that we obviously have a huge amount of respect for. The next one up here we have on the 15th of this month, Allegiance Ranch and Equine Rescue is going to be offering up. They have their big fundraiser for the year, and it is a blast. I've been to this the past few years. I won't make it this year, but it is an absolute blast. We're actually throwing up something for the silent auction to kind of do our part to help out, and that is the Heroes and Horses Hoedown. It's just go out, check out Allegiance Ranch and Equine Rescue, Allegiance Ranch and Rescue. Check them out on Facebook. You'll find all the information out there where you need to go, how you can get tickets, and you can show up there. It's Saturday night, 6:30 to 10. You want to have a blast, man, and go check out the ranch and check out the awesome services. Dan and Gloria and all of the volunteers over there have been working their tail off, and so go check them out. It's a super cool event. You'll have a blast. Next after that, on the 28th of July, Operation Equine, our beloved friend, Miss Michelle Kay, founder there of Operation Equine, they have their Barnyard Jubilee. That is their big fundraising event that's going to be going on. So check those guys out, Operation Equine. I've never had a chance to make it to that one there, and I don't know if I'll be able to make it again. personally, but it is a super, super awesome event. Lots of cool keynote speakers there. Learn about Operation Equine and all the work they do. And then, of course, on the 8th of August, Diamonds and Dog Tags. And I've been invited to this thing the past few years, haven't made it. I'm thinking this year I might get a chance to make it. The MC there, Mr. Justin Patterson, Staff Sergeant Justin Patterson, U.S. Army, is a very good friend of our family's, and he's going to be MCing. He is also a comedian. This is something we're looking forward to. I'm really hoping we can make this one happen there. So we're going to do our best to get to that as well. Let's see here. So that's some of the upcoming events that are going on here. We just got back from Marion, Illinois, man, with the wall, Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance. We were there, and we were at the ballpark. Marion, Illinois has a ballpark, the Thrillville Thrillbillies, man. It's a AAA club. They're playing some baseball down there, and they had us set the wall up. We had the Stop 22. Jonathan Wells was there. Chris Turner. These two, I mean, dude, getting that quality of entertainment being brought to them, I don't think the folks realize just, the level of artistry that we were, bringing in there. These guys they're not just American warriors and warfighters. They are flat out musicians and artists, man. And watching these guys with their craft and where they, seeing what they've dedicated to is just such a privilege, man, and a ton of fun. So we got a chance to break bread and hang out down there. But I got to tell y'all, you want to talk about hot? I had no clue that Southern Illinois could get that swampy and that hot. Good Lord. Now, I'd love to take credit for this, but my man, Mr. Will Akers, he is a family member of the Romans Warrior Foundation. He dedicates himself down there in that area to a lot of events. He's also a firefighter himself. When I asked him just how hot it was, he had the best saying. He said, Shrek and my ass were fighting over whose swamp it was. And I'll tell you what, that you could not pretty much pin a better statement than that. Was unbelievably, it was like heat index, like 113, 115, something ridiculous with air you could chew, y'all. I mean, the crew that set that wall up there, I had to tap out. This Colorado fat boy was not dealing with that humidity and that heat all combined up. So I had to punch out about halfway into it. And thank goodness we had a ton of the crew there helping set this up. And none of this happens without the CVMA, Chapter 24-5, CVMA as a whole, but specifically 24-5 out of Illinois. What an amazing group of folks. All of Marion, Illinois was super welcoming in there. Of course, Black Diamond, Harley Davidson, they were an amazing, amazing host for us and all the work. And before we got up to Black Diamond, we stopped at another Harley dealership down in Paducah, Kentucky, and met with Four Rivers, Harley Davidson down there. They were super, super gracious to give us some air conditioning to get out of that Amazonian-like temperatures down there. It's these events, man, that I'm telling you, this is where the stories that come out of these places, I would not do them justice. So I'm not even going to try to explain some of the stories and the impact that the wall has, the Stop 22 has. Just the camaraderie and seeing these groups all come together for a common cause like this is exactly why we stay on the road, why we keep working, and why we go out looking for organizations that will allow us to keep doing this work by supporting us behind the scenes, keeping gas in the pickup and keeping everything rolling down the road. Speaking of pickup, let's talk some fishing here real quick. Because, we just got a bomb dropped on us here. I think it's important to understand we were intending originally, when this season started up, we were going to LaCrosse. Okay, we were going to go fish because I love LaCrosse. I love the area up there. And I feel it's one of the few locations on the national scene that I actually feel like I have some history there. And I'm not fishing new water. So it really helps my practice time. When it pre-fishing, I can really dial in. Well, then, as time went on, we knew the budget was getting a little tight here with lodging and gas doing what it was doing, so we kind of rearranged our schedule and focused more on the All-American Series. So we gave up LaCrosse so we could go to Minocqua. And we were set, man. As of literally yesterday, I just made a post, put it out on social media out there, to get ourselves, lined up going to Minocqua to head up, and it's a Roadrunner style event for the All-American. Going to be a blast. Everything that I've researched on this and everybody that I've spoken with, there's just a ton of fish up there. Finding the quality is going to be the name of the game, right? But ton of fish to be had, ton of fish to catch. So it's like you're going to have fun no matter which way you go up there, and just, see how it lays out. Well, I guess it was maybe a couple months ago when I made the run down by Hartwell on a little vacation. I'd noticed something with my pickup where the shifting started getting a little funny, right? It was like it was shifting early, then it didn't want to shift. But it was only happening like between, around second, third, and fourth gear, somewhere in there. Right? That was the only thing that was going on. So I had the fluids flushed completely out and changed out. It was the second time I had it done. She only had about 87,000 miles on her at that time. And that was the second run. I've babied this truck, right? The Bass Buggy is something I take care of on the drivetrain. It's oil changes, religiously early, making sure that she is, taken care of running down the road, because it's our lifeline. And this shifting thing just, it kind of went away for a little bit, but it got to the point where it really wasn't bugging me too bad. So didn't really think too much about it. And I noticed if I kicked it into tow haul mode, it kind of, erased the issue, right? It squared it away for a little bit. And so I was thinking to myself, you know what, we'll keep working with this. It's nothing massive yet. When I had some front end work, just regular maintenance done to it, I had the guys at the shop look at it, and they said it was kind of beyond their scope, but they did notice there was something a little funny going on there. They couldn't pinpoint it was beyond what they could look at. So there we are. I'm coming back from Marion, Illinois. We're boogieing through Kansas. We get into Colorado. And I got to tell you, coming home when we're hitting the Colorado stretch, which is, 3 hours or so from the border to get into the metro area, roughly. And man, the shifting started going just batshit crazy. I mean, it was just not good. You could see the RPMs actually fluttering. It was not feeling good. So we get back here. I find a place that comes highly recommended. The reviews are through the roof, a couple thousand reviews, and they're through the roof. Good place to trust. It's an Amoco transmission center. It's all they do is trannies. So I send it over there and take a look. And y'all, I am still a GM man through and through. I've had GMs my entire life and have never encountered anything like this. The tranny is basically on its way out. It's done. So we are remanufactured tranny time to put in our pickup here. So now how does this tie into fishing, you say? Well, that's not a cheap venture, folks, swapping a transmission out on a half-ton pickup. So because of that and because of the timing, I'm not going to be able to make Minocqua now. We're just not going to be able to do it. I've got a trailer that we've purchased that's sitting 2 hours away from me right now. And Clay and Sandy Roberts, thank you guys so very much for being so patient with us here and working with us. I'm waiting to go down and pick that thing up and bring it up here so I can start some of the work on it that I need to do. But we can't even pick that up just yet with the truck doing what it's doing. So I'm going to arrange getting another vehicle to go get it. But nevertheless, the point is we're not going to be able to make Minocqua. The truck will not be ready by that time. Transmission, chances are, will just be getting in about the time that I would have been leaving. So, so Minocqua's off the list. We're not going to be able to make it up there. Our next event with All American will be the next one on the list for us will be the Mined Lands. That's when we'll be able to make that event. The next one after that, though, is the Mississippi River Pools 13 and 14. That's coming up right, I think, first or second week here in August. So check that out. Don't miss that. That should be a good time. And a lot of that Iowa contingency will be there. So see how much of Missouri and the rest of the Midwest we can push up in there and try to take those Iowa guys down. Can't let them be running away with these trophies like this. So, at any rate, that's changing up our schedule quite a bit. We only had one other schedule bump too. For the Colorado Kayak Bassmasters, we were going to be fishing at Norton, Kansas, but there's a family situation that come up there. My son is turning 21, and he is in college right now. Lives in our basement while he's going to college and working. Because we live in Colorado, and we just as soon not see him on a tent under a bridge somewhere. And so, Yeah, the kid, he turns 21 once, and so the fact that he's nearby like this, so we are going to forego going to Norton, Kansas, so that we can be here for his 21st birthday. We've said it before, family before anything, man. That's, you don't get this time back, and so it's very important to us to make sure that we can do those things. So. Other than that, our schedule remains on. September is going to be just nuts, man. Like every weekend, we've got something going on. Short of that, we got some family stuff going on the 16th, but every weekend we've got events taking place between the All-American and Colorado Kayak Bassmasters. We're going to be very busy through that month. And the championship, Felsenthal Refuge, is coming up soon. Can't wait for that one with the All-American. Speaking of the All-American, I'm going to kind of throw this out. I see TC is connected here, but I don't see his camera yet. So we'll wait till we see a camera before we bring him in the studio here. But on the All-American, I want to throw this out here. I just did an interview with a guy, very accomplished angler himself, and he had mentioned something. I asked him, what's it going to take to get you in the All-American, man? Because he fishes the other series. There's TC. I see the camera. Oh, look at that. He's cruising down the road, too. So we'll come back to this little topic here after. Let's go ahead and get the man in here. He's boogieing down the road, coming back. And, he's got a winner's grin. So let's get this man in here. What's happening, TC?
Oh, just still, sadly, after my win, I wasn't able to call my boss and quit. So we're back at work on Monday, cruising down the road, picking up containers. Living the trucker's life, so.
Brother, I can't thank you enough for taking the time out of your work day here to connect with us, man. This is awesome.
Well, I apologize for not looking at you. I'm over here trying to watch the road.
No, we want you on the road. Yeah, you driving a rig, man. So talk to us, man. I mean, you love LaCrosse. There's no doubt about it. We know that. You've got time there, and it fits your style of close quarter combat. Yeah. So, it just played the way you wanted it to play, did it?
Well, actually, it didn't.
Really?
Yeah. So last year for the All-American, so I've always had a thing where I want to win an event at LaCrosse on smallmouth. And I have a spot in that same area that holds some giant smallmouth this time of year. They move to the bank. They get super shallow during the mayfly hatch, and you can literally just pick them off. You can throw buzzbait all day. And so we went up. I got married last Saturday.
Congratulations, man.
My loving wife told me I actually wasn't even gonna fish this tournament. And she told me, she said, no, you need to fish this one. She's like, this is your home water. She's like, you've never had a chance to do it. She's like, get out there and do it. And so I signed up on Thursday, but we went up. She was great enough to go up with me on Monday. And we got about 15, 20 minutes on the water, and we had a little mishap where she caught her thumb in the reel handle, and she had her wedding nails on yet. It actually ripped the nail off when she set the hook on one of these smallmouth.
Oh my gracious.
Yeah, so we had to run to the emergency room for just a tiny little break, not a biggie. And she looked right at the doctor. She said, you do whatever you got to do to get us back on the water. And so she's tough. She's a little thing, but she's a tough one.
She'd be small but fierce.
That's right. So we headed back out, and I ran through my spot, and in about an hour I had 91 inches of smallmouth. And so
holy Moses.
Perfect. This is going to work out great. I'll be able to shoot down there. Nobody makes this run. It's a 4.5 mile run one way from the closest ramp. And so it got later in the week, and I started watching this cold front come in, and I know that spot just because I couldn't even count the amount of hours I've spent on pool 9. That's my home water. I love it. It's near and dear to me. I've won a ton. Every tournament I've ever won up there has been won on pool 9.
That's awesome.
Now just keep that secret. I don't want to see a bunch of people down there. So, but
Well, I was on pool 9 last year, and I caught more fish than I could count. But I was like, I think I ended up like 80th out of 190 anglers. So
yeah, it is. It's nip and tuck up there. I mean, it's truly. I call it the most level playing field in all kayak fishing, because every quarter inch counts, and there's no home field advantage. Like the fish. Like those fish, I had 91 inches on Monday, and I knew by Friday they'd be gone.
That's in that. You're right, man. It's LaCrosse river fishing smallies. If you're banking on smallies, that's a gamble in and of itself. They're such a nomadic breed on the river that one day they're there, 1 minute they're there, and then bang, they're gone.
Yeah, yep. And so that was the big thing that happened this weekend, and that's what played to my advantage, because I've had a ton of time there. Is they shut the water off on Saturday night.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So that was true. I had heard some rumors about some water change.
Yeah, so when I stepped on the ramp Sunday morning, I noticed there was more eelgrass up on that ramp than there was on Saturday morning. So it immediately clicked that they did something.
Yep.
And so like Friday, I went up pre-fish Friday. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go check some backup largemouth just to make sure, that I got a backup plan. If this north wind does come in, it blows this spot out, turns it to mud, and the smallmouth move out of there. So I got up there Friday morning early. Literally, out of the first 6 casts, I caught an 18, an 18 and a half, and a 19 3/4.
Wow. And
so I turned around right at that point. I never even got to the place that I actually fished on practice day. They were all in the edge of the secondary channel. And it was a straight frog bite. You know me, that's my game.
That's your jam.
You give me that. Yeah, you give me that close quarters with a frog, and I'm in heaven. So, I mean, it played out okay. I knew there was going to be a couple other guys in the area. I'd talked to them earlier in the week. They know that I fish down there, and so we talked and put a plan together. You take this area, you take this area, you take this area. And then Saturday morning, there was one extra guy at the ramp, and I didn't even look to see who it was. And it was Lance. And as everybody knows, that Lance has the fastest kayak in all the kayak fishing. I mean, that bona fide just gets up and goes. And I'm still in the autopilot, like love my old town. And I could have been sitting, if I'd have had his kayak, I could have been sitting on the point that he went to and had a half a cup of coffee drank by the time I got there.
Oh my gracious.
Like, that thing does like 6.5 miles an hour. So he's just walking away. We're heading the same direction. Well, I didn't know who it was at this point. And so I got up there and I saw him, and he got to pick his spot first, because that's just the way it works. And he picked the right point. Like the fish were just stacked up on that point. And so I'm like, well, I'm just going to go to the other point and just start grinding it out. And so I went straight across from him. We literally were probably 250 yards apart all day long. And he got to, 88, 89 and a half, and he left. Well, I was still sitting at like 87, so I'm like, well, I got to keep fishing. I got to stay close at least.
Right.
Because an inch on the river is like 5 inches in a lake.
Yeah, agreed.
Because all the fish are such cookie cutters that it's so hard to get that big upgrade. And so like end of day one, I'm sitting with, 80, I think it was 88 1/4, something like that, 88, something like that. But I was within an inch of the lead. So I was happy, but I wasn't sure how many fish were left in that area, because there was another guy that came in. Todd had came into the area also and worked around and caught a pile of fish in there. So literally we sat there at second, third, and fourth, all out of the same about 500-yard circle on day one.
Yeah.
So day two it come, and it was us three at the ramp. and then it was like, is this for real? Because this never happens, you know. As soon as somebody hears of a hot ramp, everybody's there. And first day you'll launch with 4 guys, the next day you'll launch with 18, you know.
Right, exactly.
It was just us three, and then there was another guy showed up a little later, which was just fine because he was fishing kind of more main channel stuff. And we just went in and went to work. And like with the water change, as I was driving up in there, I noticed my weeds along the edges looked different. You know, like they'd been out of the water. They were starting to lose their color and brown.
Yep.
Just overnight from the water drop. And so I'm like, all right, I have to get in here, and I can't lock myself on this point like I did yesterday, because if it's brown, they're moving. Because right now, you know, with the warm water temps, and I mean the warm, like we call it warm up here, the warm temperatures, they're looking for oxygen. So any green weeds are going to be your ticket.
Right.
You know, whatever's in your area close to. And with them shutting the current off, they're going to be more they tend to roam more. You know, they'll work from, you know, like there was a lot of fish in this other pad section that I eventually moved to, but it was all green in there yet.
Right.
And I went in and I worked the outside edge of it first. 18 right off the bat off my point in the morning, and I'm like, all right, cool, like they're here yet. And then every trip, like I'd run down the bank about 200 yards and I'd just work my way back down, and then I'd go back up and I'd work my way down, literally fishing a 200-yard stretch.
Yeah.
And you'd pick one off here, pick one off there. And then I decided to move over to this pad section because I absolutely love fishing pads. Like there's so many ways, like the pads that are clear up out of the water, the ones that are just tight together with little spaces in between them, like those, that's my top of the line, my most favorite thing to fish, because it is so close quarters and those fish are so aggressive underneath there.
Heck yeah.
And so like, get your notepads out, because I'm going to give you the biggest piece of juice there is in the world. And I shouldn't do this because it's probably going to make it harder to win LaCrosse. But so in those pad sections, you look for like that 2 to 3 to 4 foot of water, and that's where them fish they'll almost suspend underneath there. That way they can feed up or down. So you take your frog and you take a split shot, just a small split shot, and you slide it in the hole in the back just to give it a little weight. And then you take that thing and you chuck it out in the pads. Don't get it way out. Keep your work close to you. And then when you get to the edge of that pad or drop it in the hole between the pads, stop it. Just hold it still, and the front of that frog will drop real slow, and it'll actually hook you on the front of the pad. And when you do that, you just like a shaky head, you just sit there and work it. just let it vibrate. And I mean, I was doing this for upwards of a minute on each pad.
Wow.
And that 19 1/4, I watched this fish. I had a bigger hole, and so I'm like, all right, tossed it up in there, hooked it on that pad, and just sat there shaking it. I actually watched her come up behind it, and she sat there and she was keyed up on it. And so I just kept shaking and kept shaking and kept shaking. And all of a sudden she worked right up to the tail of it, and she sat right there, and then just all at once she just went and sucked it in. It was dead quiet. Like if I wouldn't have seen it, I would have never known she picked it up. And when I set that hook, the whole pad field just erupted. Like she went crazy.
Wow.
I'm just screaming at her. I'm like, get in the net. get in the net, like, because I knew it was a big fish, and it was, I was sitting pretty good after about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I knew I needed a couple kicker fish to be real, to be comfortable.
Right.
And so I hit that one, got her to the net, had to sit down for a little bit and relax, because I haven't had feelings for fishing like I had Saturday and Sunday in a long time.
That's awesome, man.
I was truly amped up. Like I got to see a lot of good friends that I hadn't seen in a long time at the check-in. And, like for me, that's the biggest part of kayak fishing is the check-in and the awards. Like I try to never miss an award ceremony, no matter how I do. But yeah, so at that point I had, I want to say like a 2.5-inch lead on Russ, and everybody knows Russ. Russ is the absolute hands down best angler in the nation, and he's consistent and he's solid, and he is one that can sneak up and take it from you. And I never fished so hard in my life, just trying to catch something over 17. I mean, I got to the point I'd made so many casts that when I was working the frog in, my bicep would actually start to cramp, and I'd end up with the rod right next to my head, and I there's nothing I could do. I couldn't get it to move back. My hands were cramping, my back was cramping. I'm like, I am a mess,
You're not a spring chicken anymore there, TC.
No, and like 2-day national events they're a grind. And I'd been in that position before. I was in a national tournament on LaCrosse once before, and I was sitting in third place after day one, and it was like $30,000 to win on that one, and I skunked on day two.
Ouch!
So when I put my limit in the kayak, like I was jacked. Like I'm like, yes, we're at least gonna get top 10,
Right. You're in the hunt. You're in the hunt.
Yeah. So I mean, it was a great event. I mean, a ton of respect to all the guys. Every one of them that cash a check, like I have a ton of respect for all of them. And I mean, it's a great thing to see that come to the Midwest. Yep. And like.
Well, in LaCrosse, man, if you're going to go to LaCrosse, it's such a destination bucket list place, for guys that have never been there. And for those of us that have been there a lot, we want to go back. I mean, there's a reason why you put it on your schedule that, yes, this is a place I want to go fish. Yeah. Does it get hit a lot? Sure it does. And it's like Okoboji, though. It stays healthy, man. They proper management, and there's a reason why people come there. It's like it fishes so well. I wanted to ask you water temps. What were you seeing, if you don't mind me asking? I know it's going to vary from back in the sloughs out, compared to by the main channels, but where was it at?
The only time I took a fish finder was Monday.
Are you serious? You just went in raw dogging it?
Well, so if I can't tell you exactly where a rock or a piece of weed is in pool 9 with the amount of time I've spent there, my mind's starting to slip, put me in the home. Like,
Gotcha.
There's not an inch of that pool that I don't know. And I mean, I fished it a lot when I first started fishing because I wanted to do different things.
Yep.
Try different variations. And that's the one place that you can really do it. I mean, you can go there and fish any way you want to fish.
Brother, I got to tell you, this makes my heart feel good because last year I went there and stayed at probably the best campground I've ever stayed at, and that's the Black Hawk campground. No, Black Hawk down on 9. No, not Goose Island. No. Yep. That's the community campground. I mean, everybody and their aunt and uncle goes to Goose Island. You know what I mean? No, I was down at Black Hawk. It's a Corps of Engineers deal down there. And it was hands down one of the best campgrounds I've ever been at. It's got multiple ramps on it that are publicly accessible and such. And so, yeah, and I just got worried that pool 9 maybe wasn't, going to doesn't respond as well. So it's good to see that 9 did really well. And it looks like you might have froze up on me here, brother. All right, folks, give him a few minutes. I'm sure he'll reconnect here, and we'll try to be patient with the man. I'll move him back out here, and we'll wait to see when his camera kicks back on again. So this is awesome stuff. We're hearing about LaCrosse. Got Tyler Cole joining us here. He's got a little connection issue. He's joining us literally while he's still working. So this is awesome stuff that he took the time out of his busy schedule to join us here and give us this first interview after this win. And it's having Russ Snyder chase you down. I mean, brings back an old NASCAR analogy for me, and I'm going to date myself with this, but like the worst thing that you wanted to see on the final lap is that black number 3 of Dale Earnhardt in your rearview mirror, right? Tyler had to feel that way, having Russ Snyder of all guys, chasing him down, in second place. And so, yeah, we got you back here, TC?
I think so.
Perfect. Awesome. So this is awesome, man. And it's I was just saying that Blackhawk, it's a Corps of Engineer campground down there on 9, just north. It's on the Wisconsin side, north of Lansing up there. And it's just one of the most well-maintained. The showers are phenomenally clean. The campground's super clean. People are respectful. Multiple ramps to launch from. And I had heard from a couple of the locals and the old timers. They were thinking that 9 maybe just wasn't fishing the way it used to. So this makes my heart feel good because it is one of my favorite pools to fish down there. Obviously, I think opposite of where you were at. I think my gut is telling me you were opposite of where I was fishing, but because I think I know the areas that you're talking about, but who knows?
Yeah. But, I mean, you can figure out ramps and kind of figure out where that.
But it is fun, the Lansing area, all those ramps in there, lots of cool backwaters in there, lots of, like you said, if you want to fish cut banks, there's cut banks. You want to fish grass and mats, there's grass and mats. You want to fish channels, you name it, however you want to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's it. Like, it will play to your style. Like, you can always find fish that'll play to your style.
Heck yeah.
I mean, you dive into pads. You can go fish wing dams with crankbaits. I mean, you can do just about anything you want to do.
Last year, bro, I'll tell you, I was literally catching smallies with a brown chatterbait. You'd have been proud. A brown chatterbait off of wing dams. I was hitting smallies with it. First time I'd ever got smallies on a chatterbait. It was nuts.
I heard there was some arguments over some wing dams. Guys were fighting. Guys were fighting over them. They were stacked on them so bad. But I mean,
you get a lot of anglers in the same place, and they know the importance of it for sure.
Well, and the thing with the LaCrosse area and that is, everybody wants to go up there to fish a spot, and there is no spots on LaCrosse. They're areas.
Right. Exactly.
And when guys would realize that, like, our area held 3 anglers in the top 5, and I mean, that's instead of one, like 2 guys fighting over one spot. Like, I knew that, Lance had the better fish. I just had to work harder for mine.
Right.
And it worked out great. We all got along, and I told them in the morning when we got to the ramp, all 3 of them, I said, here's the deal. I said, I don't care how we end up. I don't care what we end up. I said, but I want to see us all cash out of here.
Hell yeah.
That's what we did.
At the last CKB event, we were over at Red Willow, and the guy that ended up coming in second, and I come in right behind him, he and I, early on in the day, I was leading the event, and he and I literally were working the same shoreline, but from opposite directions, like 2-3 times during the day, and we'd come up on each other, and literally just through a little communication, we'd hop each other and just keep working. When he uploaded his fish and he took me out of first place, I literally made the choice to not go over to that side again, just let him have it, but it's how it should be. If you communicate with each other and you give respect, and you get it back, that's how we can compete like that and do good, man. It's just talk with each other.
And that's it. Like I love watching other people win. I mean, even as much as I enjoy winning, like watching Nick, that guy was so jacked to be up on that stage.
That's awesome.
I mean, like, it almost brought tears to my eyes because, like, I turned around, I looked at Jim Davis, I'm like, remember those days? Like, remember those days when fishing was simple? Like, and we just showed up to go fishing. Like, this guy's out here paddling, just having a ball, and I love seeing it. Like, I've been in the game 7 years now, and, I mean, I've watched some of the best anglers grow up, and it's like watching them, start from, like, I remember Jordan pulling on the ramp in an Astro van with a kayak in the back, like,
that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, just watching those guys grow up to be the hammers they are. I mean, it just, the competition gets younger and younger every year, and I keep getting older and older, and it's like,
I'm right in front of you there. Don't worry.
I felt really old last night, and the wife and kids come up to awards, so that was pretty special to me. And I mean,
that was cool, man. I love seeing that picture.
Yeah, and it was really awesome that Bassmaster used that picture, on all the social media. I mean, that's a big shout out to them for their media coverage. Like, they do some amazing things.
Yep.
And you got, I mean, Steve-O is one of the best around. And I can't thank them enough for everything they do with it. I wish I had more time. I think next year I'm going to try to focus on the Bass Series and really fish it hard next year. And
sure.
But I mean, just everybody that's reached out in the last couple of days, like it's been overwhelming. Like I forget a lot of times, it's like, yeah, there's people that do actually watch this,
we were just talking. I was talking about that with Ryan Reed. He and I just interviewed him, and we were chatting about that. And it's, we talk about of course, I'm we'll continue to bring up, our home base of the All-American, time and time again, and asking guys what it's going to take to get them to, give us a look and come over, and get more people in because we're paying out, right on par with everybody, if not, at the top. Our payouts are as good as it is in the industry. Yeah. All it's going to take is numbers in there. He mentioned something, and I just wanted to throw this out there to you in the public because he mentioned something during this interview that it's the first time I've heard it. But I said, "What's it going to take, brother, to get you? I mean, you're from that area. What are we going to do to get you in a couple?" And he goes, "First step is go back to Saturday, Sunday."
Yeah. We tried something a little different.
Sure.
The biggest thing was just getting guys home on Sunday.
Right. I got to say, for me, I love the Friday, Saturday, but I know that I'm not in the majority.
And same for me, because it only, like, I work a ton of overtime, so, like, screwing up 1 week overtime is perfectly fine, which, so you take off on Tuesday instead of Wednesday to go to a tournament.
Right.
And then you're back home Sunday night. But, there's logic behind it, but it doesn't fit a lot of people's schedule. And, I mean, we shot out there and we tried it, and
sure.
I have a feeling it's going to change next year. And, I mean, and that's the thing, is just finding something a little different than everything else. I mean,
yep.
All the series are kind of built all around the same model, and so we were just trying something a little different. And, it's.
I'll be honest. That's the first time I've ever heard anybody, openly at least say. I don't know if it was scuttlebutt or chatter in the background, maybe, but yeah, whatever it takes to help garner more folks, because working with each other out there, working with Bass Master and working with Hobie and these other is so important. And unfortunately, the only way to get Josh to the table is when they understand that we're putting numbers up the same as they are. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then he'll get a seat at that table, because My personal opinion on this is one of the great things that makes a good series is having great and good people at the top, dude. And while this is going to sound self-serving, having Josh and you at running these, deals, man, you guys are anglers. Well, I mean, seeing Josh, by the way, compete, that was so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I called him today. I'm like, hey, how you feel being back in the saddle? He goes, I'm sore.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounded like he was feeling pretty under the weather there on Sunday morning. And so he didn't make it out on the water on time. But he got a little time in on Sunday, so.
He still put up like 70 inches, 69, something like that.
That's because he was in a killer area. Like,
nice.
He should have wanted out of there.
Yeah, man, I was excited to see he put up like 80 some odd inches there on day one. I'm like, hey, top 25 right now. You're in striking range. Like you said, half inch is everything there, man.
Right, and that's it. Like anybody, like if you were even 78 inches, 79 inches, you still had a shot at it.
Right.
Like, I mean, things can happen, and like these fish move, and
yeah, they do.
And then you're there scrambling. And so like my smallie spot is 4.5 miles from the ramp, and there is not anything within a mile or two of that. So if I'd make that run to go down there and those fish are gone, my day's shot. It's just the chances you take. And there's a ton of areas like that on that river that you can get 3, 4, 5 miles out. And then you just wing it at that point and just hope for the best.
So trust me, it was brought into clear, big, bright light for me because all my experience on LaCrosse had been in a boat.
Yep.
And yeah, dude, I took my nitro into 2 foot of water, and I knew that if I came off a pad, I wasn't coming back on pad. It was going to take me forever to get out of there, Yeah. So the Minnesota Slough is one of the best.
Yeah.
Dude, I've gone way up into that thing at full speed, crossing fingers the whole time that, keep my lower unit attached. Keep my lower unit attached.
Yep. And that.
But in a kayak, that's a different gamble, right?
Yeah, because from like, what is it? Just the first ramp south of Reno to the tubes up at Reno is 4.5 miles,
Right.
And then you got New Albans, Army Road south of that. And it's like, you can get in some crazy places. And I mean, you can stumble on some epic fish, but trying to find your way back to the ramp, you got to have the finder on.
Yeah.
For the Hobie a couple years ago, the first one I fished up there, I had really good smallies, and that's why I tell everybody that goes LaCrosse, like, don't chase them. They'll break your heart.
Yeah, they will.
I mean, I've chased them 5-6 times, and they've only held once, but I had really good smallies it was on Wednesday, and I'm like, all right, perfect. Like, I caught 89 inches in like 15 minutes.
Right.
And that's, you hear a lot of people that they look at you funny when you say you can catch 89, 90 inches in 15 minutes. Like, but that is LaCrosse. Like, that's
LaCrosse. That's the Mississippi, upper Mississippi, man.
Yeah. You land on those fish and there's 50 of them in that school.
I was going to say they wad up when you do this time of year, you will find a ball of them.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you'll catch 2 at a time. I mean, it's an insane bite. Granted, we don't have the size of fish up here. Like, you're not going to see those 22s, 23s, 24s. But I personally saw 4 on the board from this week of pre-fishing at 21.5.
Wow.
And that is a true river giant. Like that,
That's a dinosaur up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and one was a smallie. I saw a 21.5 inch smallie, but
wow.
There was some 6 and 7 pound smallies caught last year that were, I mean, just giants.
That's amazing.
True legit on the scale 6s and 7s, because I swore at St. Clair I caught a 6-pounder and it was 5.11. The most depressing day of my life catching my PB,
Well, there's an extra pound of anticipation that's in there.
Well, Oh, that was the worst part. I hooked that fish and it jumped straight up out of the water. And I was actually fishing with Tim Gurley. And we went to the same area. We switched areas. And I told him, I said, just come along with me. I said, we can fish touching each other all day and we'll never run out of fish. And this fish jumped. Tim was like 50 yards away, and I'm like, get over here. He's like, what? I'm like, dude, if I get this fish in the net, like, it's going to be my new PB. And he's like, what do you mean if? I'm like, dude, it's smallies. They'll break your heart.
And what is it? We know this, right? Anybody who's fished smallmouth, especially northern smallmouth, they will crush your dreams in a heartbeat. But yet we can't resist it, dude. We have to at least go try. You know, there's something about them.
Like last year when I found the smallies last year, I looked at a buddy of mine, and he's like, "You're really gonna chase smallies?" Yep. I'm like, dude, I've been there 3 times and I've caught 80, 85 plus every time. And he's like, you're really going to chase smallies? Right. He goes, especially for a 3-day tournament. He goes, you think they're actually going to be there after 3 days? And I'm like, well, we're 5 days out, so we're going to find out. And that was the only time they've ever held for me. And I caught 50 fish a day, all on a buzzbait.
Hell yeah.
And it was just some of the most epic fishing that I've done up there.
And I'm going to brag on you on this one. All on braid, suckers. Yep. Hear it now. All on braid the whole time.
That's right.
Not just topwater. Not just topwater on braid.
I did use a leader out at St. Clair on my sissy sticks.
Oh yeah, did you?
Them little fairy wand things that you shake at the fish. Yeah, like they have no use for fishing, and smallmouth love to try to break them, but like there's some lures that I just can't cast on braid. So I found a knot that I thought I could tie. It's some surgeon's knot or something.
Yeah.
And
if you keep the leader small, you can get away with it.
I was pulling it out 3 or 4 times. I'm like, yeah, we'll get her in here. And I mean, it's held so far. So
good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, I'm not too keen on it. But St. Clair, I can pull it off because it's open water and there's no sticks or rocks. So
right. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
So Minocqua, man, that's next on the board, right?
Oh, I'm so pumped.
So
pumped.
Literally as of yesterday, I was throwing posts out about, telling folks, come on, join me up there. So I'll let you know something you probably didn't see because you were working. I announced this earlier. The Bass Buggy needs a hip replacement.
Yeah?
Just got word today, I got to get a new transmission in this thing.
They got 2 weeks.
What's that?
They got 2 weeks.
Yeah, the remanufactured tranny isn't going to be until the 26th, and then it'll probably be 2 days or so, to get her in. So unfortunately,
if you go to U-Haul, right on the side of the truck, $19.99. Make it happen, Captain. We'll see you at Minocqua.
Brother, I wish I could
borrow your neighbor's truck. Don't let them know you took it.
It's beyond that. It's more just the budget itself.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to even say how much, because in Colorado, these guys are helping us out. Keep in mind, it's Amoco Transmission up in Longmont. They're helping us out because of what we do with the True Patriot Outfitters.
Yep.
And even them helping us out is $130 an hour in labor.
Yeah.
Our labor rates out here are just through the roof. The parts, everything.
Right. So here's the deal. So
it's a sting.
You jump on YouTube. You can do anything off YouTube.
Rebuild my own transmission.
Yeah, Walmart's got some ramps. You just wheel under that thing.
I got ramps.
See, you're in. All you need is a cheap toolkit from Walmart, and you can have that thing back. Like, if you have one, you can have it back on the road by Thursday.
I wish that life was as simple as you make it, my friend.
Yeah, right? That's why I buy a new truck every 2 years, because it's like, I'm on the road so much. I'm just like, nope, I ain't messing around with that. So tomorrow is $1,800 worth of tires, so I can make it through the rest of the season. So
my wife and I were just talking about eventually what will get us when we have enough support with the TPO getting behind us. We are going to simply lease a vehicle, lease a truck every 2 years with a high mileage lease, because then we can take care of this, hauling the trailer around, doing the events, going on the tournament, and boosting the media presence. And we'll be able to actually write the lease expense off for the nonprofit then. But until we can get to a point where we actually have that kind of backing, something sitting in our coffers, we're still everything that is the TPO is basically my wife and I that have put into this, whole thing, keeping us standing up. So unfortunately, I won't make Minocqua, but I will be any live broadcast on such. We'll absolutely spin it from here and throw it out.
Perfect.
And then my next one's Mind Lands when I'll be joining.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it down to that one. I'm gonna do Minocqua and 13, 14.
I figured you'd make that next one, 13, 14. I've heard rumors that the pools are a little bit drier the further south you get from there.
Oh, the river's in the roughest shape I've seen it, but it's fishing the best I've seen it.
Wow.
Like it's got them grouped up. I mean, there's no room for them to spread out. It's so low.
Right.
The places that I normally fish are sitting, 5-6 feet of water, and they're sitting with 2 or 3 in it right now.
Wow.
And I mean,
that's struggling for oxygen too at that point on the Mississippi.
And hence did you get your notebook out and write down the green weeds? All right, you're putting it together now. So there's nothing to the madness.
You're talking to a Colorado guy, man. What is this grass you speak of?
Right? It's like talking to the Missouri guys. Like, all you guys got's rocks. I'm like,
yep.
But
dude, I can't even keep my front lawn green out here. Anything in the water.
We got guys out here that'll paint them in March. They paint their front yard so they're green all year. So.
Yep, I might need that. That, but then I won't notice it's dying on me.
Right? No kidding. No kidding.
Well, listen, man, we're going to go ahead and let you go here. Brother, I can't thank you enough, and I'm going to tell you this right now. When I saw and got a chance, because we had a little family deal, and when I come home, I jumped on Tourney X. I took a look at the results, and when I saw that you had that, I double-checked. It was like, that's final? Dude, right. I was jumping and so zooked to see you pull that off, man. That's it couldn't go to a better guy, and especially, against the hammers you were facing there, man. That's got to feel good, brother.
It does. It does. I mean, like I said, I have a ton of respect for all them guys, and it's like, some of them that were up there were the ones I was watching when I started, 6-7 years ago. These guys have been in it, just killing it.
Hell yeah.
Ever since then, and I mean, it takes an army to be able to go out and do this. So, I mean, I gotta thank my people at home, my job, he understands, he gets it. He's like, go do your thing.
That's awesome.
But when you're here, you're mine.
Yeah.
So, it goes, with the territory, but I mean, it's been a crazy year. We pulled off the win in Texas this spring, and we're sitting really good in points in the All-American Angler of the Year. We're sitting really good. I'm sitting in second at the IAC, the state series for Iowa. And then to pull this off, it just kind of capped the whole thing on top of the wedding. It's been a crazy, crazy year for a year that I wasn't going to fish very much.
Right. That'll teach you.
Right.
Well, yeah, and that was super cool, man, seeing the entire family. That's so important because they are our support structure. And that's, big families, small families, doesn't matter, man. Without them, we can't do anything.
I couldn't do what I do between directing and fishing and working and try to hold down a household all at the same time. I mean, it looks great from the outside, but I'm telling you, all the thanks is on her for keeping things together while I'm out here on the road, whether it be at work or at the tournaments, and my kids for being understanding, and they push me all the time. They're like, you got to do this, you just gotta, and it's
that's awesome.
Can't I just take a nap? But, But I mean, like I said, like I appreciate everybody that reaches out. Like it truly means the world to me. Like this, 5-6 years ago, I was just some kid from Hopkett, Iowa that, thought he had a fishbowl. I literally went to the first tournament I didn't have a rod that was over $50 the first tournament that I won. And I mean, it's just been a spiral snowball since then. And now, like, because I quit drinking to take up fishing, and I probably should have kept drinking because it's cheaper.
Isn't that the truth? Our sport will make you really think about that you need to drink. I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you, there's been days.
If I didn't know what was going to happen the next morning, I probably would. But it's like I got to get up way too damn early, and it's already hard enough.
Well, and I'll have 9 years sober in August 24th, and
that's awesome, man.
Like everybody kept asking me if I was coming out of retirement for my wedding, and I'm like, nah, that's the longest streak I've ever had besides my kids, so I think I'm going to stick with it.
I'm right there with you, man. My wife and I'll have a 6-pack of beer like once a year. It'll stay in the fridge, and we'll split one maybe for dinner, type thing. Yeah, it's a rarity that we touch anything. I don't want to feel that way anymore.
Right? Yeah.
You feel like ass the next day trying to get moving.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. Again, thank you so much for taking time here, for showing up, and I'm sure you're going to be getting a pile of these requests for this next week, dude. You're going to be doing the rounds out there, so soak it in and enjoy it.
They didn't kick Swindle off KBN tonight to put me on, so I know where I stand now. Right?
That's what I'm saying.
But no, like I said, I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate all you guys. I can't thank everybody enough. So
you bet, man. Well, like I said, you've taught this old dog a few new tricks, and I'm looking forward to definitely future. And
better.
That's right. All right, buddy. Well, you take care, man, and go get that rig stowed away, and we will. I'm sure we'll be chatting at you soon enough.
All right, appreciate it.
All right.
Yep.
All right, folks. Well, listen, I can't thank everybody enough who's joined us here live and all the comments coming through and so forth. Thank you so very much. It means the world to us. Glad that we could all sit down and talk some fishing with Tyler. He is one of the best out there, man. And and what I mean by that is we all know his angling skills, but he's one of the best people that you're going to meet. And I can attest to this personally. Met him last year for the first time, and like I've known him for years on end. So it was thoroughly enjoyable to see him get the win there on LaCrosse, and especially now to hear that he did it with smallies as well. That's awesome stuff. It's a little bit of vindication there for him, but especially knowing the way those things will break your hearts out there. We've got a super busy schedule lined up for the fall coming up here, and we'll revisit this in October. We've been rolling here for over an hour, so we're going to go ahead and cut this thing off here tonight. But stick with us. Check out, like I said, all the a lot of cool events going to be coming up. Subscribe on YouTube. If you're following us on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe. That is a huge help for us. Help spread the word. More subscriptions we get, the better it looks for potential supporters of the mission that we're on out here to bring the outdoors, bring kayak fishing into the lives of some people that could absolutely benefit from it and use it. And that's anybody who not just enjoys the outdoors, but there's a lot more that comes with that. As always, folks, we can't do any of this stuff without your support and without your continued help with spreading the mission, and the word about what we're doing out there. So thank you all so very much. If you're watching this, that's recorded, much appreciated. If you didn't get a chance to tune in live and you're just watching it through the recording, huge thanks. We got a couple events coming up here in the beginning of August with the TPO, and the next time we'll be on the tournament trail isn't going to be until probably looks like September. So we've got some time off. We're going to go and get out on the water, see if we can get you some fish picks, and we've got, like I said, plenty of nonprofit work and different warrior fishing trips that we're going to be doing. We'll keep you up to speed on those. As always, folks, tight lines and be safe.